Hello and welcome to the People Podcast.
So, pre-warning, this podcast got a bit out of hand. With it being around Christmas time, we went through, Brett and Imz went through around half a bottle of Jameson whiskey. I don't know, maybe half a bottle of red wine, more.
We went just through a bottle of mulled wine, a bottle of red wine, a six-pack of beers and a bottle of Jameson.
Jesus Christ. The stories kind of followed suit with that.
We started off talking about male strippers, a big passion of hers. We touched on a Brazilian flag as a tattoo, and then ended on how she lives with 6 girls, mostly naked.
Yep. We touched on her boyfriend, Cam, who's going to be on the podcast in a couple of weeks' time, a month's time or so, and his various unusual habits, which we'll get into.
We also did talk about some serious stuff. So Imz is a doctor, or she's just a doctor in training, so we touched on just the kind of motives and what a day-to-day life's like, and then also if she's seen any disgusting stuff in hospital.
Yeah, so if you're looking for a podcast with a varying spectrum of grossness, seriousness, politics, this is the one for you.
Enjoy.
Welcome to the People Podcast.
So I'll start off with a random question. It'll definitely appear random, but hopefully it hits a chord with you. I don't know, have you ever had a male stripper?
Yes, I do. I do believe you gave that male stripper a pep talk before he came over also.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I was a very naughty girl one evening, December the 4th. Also happened to be my birthday and my hen party.
But a fake hen party. This was.
Yeah, I mean that did cause some confusion.
Hen party themed birthday. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean the whole birthday wasn't surrounding like a fake wedding or anything. It was more like
you're not actually engaged.
No. The night out was just a fake hen party because I thought it'd be fun. Mm-hmm. But it did cause a lot of confusion, especially when I told my mum. She didn't get it at all. She was like, "But who's getting married?" I was like, "No, mum."
So you all your friends, and it wasn't a surprise thing. You all knew about it, and you had penises, or stick the penis on the guy.
Pin the willy on the Bachelor, yeah. Penis straws, pink feather boas. The only thing we didn't have was the shot glasses on the beaded necklaces, which I was quite upset about.
Oh, those are a staple, yeah.
Don't tell me that.
For your real one, there you go.
Oh yeah, I saved that for the big one. Yeah.
So, where did you know you were gonna get a stripper?
No, I didn't. Cam didn't know that I didn't know.
Right, okay. So Cam's your boyfriend?
Yes.
And he was your surprise stripper?
He was, yeah. Much to my disappointment.
You didn't know. What? You'll be listening to this with burning ears, I'm sure. So yeah, he walked into the room. Were you blindfolded at the time? Or?
I was blind. I had black satin blindfold, of course.
Nice. And the music played, and he just started walking in. What was he dressed in?
It was. So he came into Genuine Pony, which is the Magic Mike song.
Okay.
If you ever know.
I don't, but I can imagine.
It's a good song.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he was dressed as a policeman. And then I got told I'd been a naughty girl.
Wow.
Yeah. And then he started stripping for me. But apparently he was quite worried that I was not going to know it was him and then get really into it. But I clocked it was him pretty early on.
When you heard that some of your friends were saying, "Oh, there's a stripper here for you," what did you immediately think? Were you like, "Yes," or were you like, "Oh no, this is going to be so awkward"?
So there were 4 options that ran through my mind. I thought either could have been Debbie Dumpling. Do you know who she is?
I do know who she is. I've seen her up close.
And I was like, I hope you haven't got Debbie Dumpling. And then I thought it might be one of like my male friends because people had said they might come later or whatever. And then I was like, could be a real stripper, but I know they're quite expensive.
It's one of your male friends. That's pretty awkward, though, isn't it? Like, it's a guy that you don't find sexually attracted that you got to rub up against in front of a room full of your mates.
To be fair, later that night when we came out for afters, we did manage to get 2 of our male friends to strip and fight.
Excellent.
So I think it would have been quite easy.
Strip and fight.
Yeah.
That's an interesting combo.
Yeah, no, it was good actually.
It's like a strip off.
Yeah, well, they just sort of like took their tops off and they had like pants on. You know, we're not animals. And, they didn't really fight. It ended up just sort of tickling each other's nipples. It was all a bit weird, actually.
That's very different to fighting. I don't know if you've seen the UFC.
Yeah, I might have made that a bit more dramatic than it actually was.
So they got naked and stroked each other.
Yeah. Anyway.
So no, I'd heard about that. I didn't. Yeah, I'd heard you were going to have a bachelor party kind of thing, Hindu,
Yeah.
and that Cam was coming up, but you didn't know about it.
I didn't know, no.
And I was just like, because he lives in Birmingham. I think he's driven all the way from Birmingham to surprise you, and he's had a phone call with you the day before and said, "Oh, I can't make it for your birthday. I'm so sorry."
Yeah.
Normally in a relationship that would cause a little bit of animosity at some stage, but you guys are fine. And then
No.
he just walks into the room, and you instantly know it's him.
Yeah. It was it was really nice.
From his
actually.
scent or from...
Yeah, it was from the scent, yeah.
He was really nervous though, so I was with him.
Was he?
I was with him before because I was at a friend's house and he was there and he was getting ready. He was doing push-ups to try and... You've not heard about this, have you?
No. Oh, was he?
Yeah, to try and present himself to you. And yeah, he was just really nervous and sweating, obviously. So you probably picked up on the scent straight away.
Oh, what a cutie. Yeah, I could tell straight away. And also, when he like started grinding on me, you just know.
He's done that before. I felt
like,
that
I've seen
grind.
him move those hips in the club before. I recognise. I don't know if you've seen Cam dance. Very fluid hips.
Yeah, no, yeah. He's got
Jack knows.
I've admittedly completely. He said that once, and I cried laughing when he said he had fluid hips. But he's like dead serious about it. So I've took that phrase and ran with it.
Yeah.
Like every time I ever go out now, I definitely don't have fluid hips, but I just tell everyone I do because I think it's hilarious.
It is transfixing. You ever see anyone
He does have
in a
fluid hips.
trance in the club? It's probably because they've seen him. And
I can't wait to see this. I don't think I've ever seen it.
Have you not?
No. Because I'm a big fan of your boyfriend, as you know.
I do know, yeah.
Yeah,
is this what this is going to be? Just talking about how much you love
Yeah,
Cam for 2 hours?
Anyway, I get to have him on because he's coming on after Christmas.
Yeah, I'll give you some good questions to ask him.
So how did you guys meet? How long have you been together for?
So we've been together for 4 years. Yeah, 4 years.
And you are 24.
I'm 24,
if you don't
yeah.
mind me asking. Okay.
Yeah.
Just so most of you were pretty much your entire life.
Yeah, I met him the second week into uni, so it was I met him quite quickly.
How did you meet him?
I actually met him doing this thing called sexpression, which sounds like it's going to be a good story, but it's not.
You just see his hips from across the room.
It's like this society where you go into schools, they don't have very good sex ed, and you talk about sex ed and consent, and like you touch on like body image and stuff like that.
So for a bit of background here, you study medicine, and Cam studied medicine as well?
He did biomed at that point.
Okay.
But now he does medicine, yeah.
So did you have some modules that overlapped, and that's why you...
No, we don't have any modules, it was just like an extracurricular thing.
Are you doing it for fun?
Yeah, for fun. Yeah. Anyway, it was like the training day, and I think it was like a free buffet afterwards, and, you know, our eyes locked over the sausage rolls, and then...
It's like...
Yeah, and I think he did say, like, are you coming out tonight? Because we went to the pub afterwards. But I had eaten so much of this buffet that I was like, there's no way I'm going out. But I'm sort of glad I didn't, because then obviously we started texting rather than like going out and sleeping together, and then that would have been it. But
right, okay, so you reckon you would have ruined it if
I
you'd
think the
not had
sausage
enough
rolls
sausage
saved
rolls?
our relationship.
Wow.
Yeah.
Always be thankful for sausage rolls. Great.
What's what?
Always be thankful for sausage rolls.
Always be thankful. That is my mom. I might get that tattooed on me actually.
Well, speaking, you've got a tattoo, don't you?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. I heard that Ribby told you about this actually.
It's weird how I know about that. So I don't know anything about it. I just know that you have a tattoo and that it's an interesting story.
Do you know what it is or where?
I know.
So,
I do.
You do. Have I shown you?
Well, I'm sure you all three have them, right?
Yeah.
The same tattoo. You and two other mates.
Yeah.
Was this when you were travelling or?
Yeah.
I came to also watch the rugby once ages ago, maybe back in the summer. And I was like late to the party and everyone was already drunk. And like came in and like, I'm not going to ruin the story, but they got them out. So carry on.
It's on my bum, as
nice.
to be expected,
Classy.
you know. And it's a tattoo of the Brazilian flag. Well, because we'd been in Brazil for 3 days.
Brazilian flag has a circle in the middle of it, right?
Yeah,
But it's not like, it doesn't
Yeah.
encompass any body parts to make the flag, right?
No.
Okay.
But yeah, I was just, when Jack came out of freeze, I was just spread my cheeks.
That would be an amazing story there.
Cut that out.
Rugby girls, medics, I know you guys are a crazy bunch.
Yeah, I think at the time it was like, it was a combination of, we thought it'd be really funny to say, oh, I've got a Brazilian bum, because obviously they have really nice bums.
They do.
And also the fact that my two best friends were getting it, and I didn't want to be left out of the Instagram, so I got one as well.
Or do it for the gram, take it to another
We
level.
didn't even get a gram.
No way. And how long ago was this?
So it was when we were in South America, in between second and third year, so I was 21 or 22.
Okay, just a
Yes.
little baby.
Yeah, well, I feel it's too old to be getting a stupid drunken tattoo. That should have been done when I was 17 and in Magaluf, but, you know.
Did you go to Magaluf when you were 17?
Yeah.
And what? Tell me a story from Magaluf when you were 17. So I've never been to Magaluf. I've never done the whole European trashy holiday.
What's the like trashy holiday in South Africa? Is there?
There isn't one. I don't think.
There's not one.
I don't think not.
Maybe you're just too classy for it.
I doubt that. I very, very much doubt that. I've been to Thailand. I've been to full moon parties and that sort of thing. So.
Yeah, similar vibe really.
It's probably the same people.
Yeah, probably just doing a tour.
Yeah.
I don't really have any funny stories from Magaluf. Can't remember. It was so long ago. Can't remember.
You were 17.
No, I think I was 18 when I was in Magaluf.
Because you just like getting your A-level results type thing.
I think it was before I got my A-level results.
But it would have been that like summer holiday.
Yeah, maybe it was after. Can't remember. Yeah.
So that's always like
it was really fun.
It's always an interesting time for people who are like going to university because they like sat on their phones in the airport trying to get on clearing or what have you, trying to get into the certain universities. How did your A-level results day experience go?
My experience actually went quite badly because to get onto medicine you need to have 3 A's, 1 in chemistry, 1 in another science. It doesn't have to be biology, and then something else. And then I had an A star and 2 B's, which is not good enough.
You had an A star and 2 B's and it wasn't good enough.
No, it's not good enough. So
what did you do your A-levels in, sorry?
So psychology, chemistry, and biology.
Okay, that's easy ones. Yeah.
The whole way, it's sort of like a bit of backstory, sort of through my 6th form. A few of the teachers had told me not to apply to medicine, and sort of said like, "Oh, you're not gonna do it." Like that. So then that happened, and I was like quite close to the border of an A. So I was asking if I should get it remarked, and a few people were like, "No, don't." And then one teacher, who I'm eternally grateful for, was like, "Yeah, just go for it. You may as well."
So what does it take to remark it? Is it just like a £20 fee or so?
You have to pay £70 per paper, I think.
Okay, but it's just a monetary fee. It's not like you have to go through a
Yeah,
process
just
or
a
anything.
money
So you may as
thing.
well do it.
And then I got it remarked, and it came back A star 2 A's, which was like obviously has changed my life forever. So
the narrowest of margins.
yeah, I probably wouldn't be sat here now, or I might not even be with Cam or anything. So
Wow.
yeah,
The
no,
butterfly effect.
I think back to that sometimes, and it's like so weird.
That's crazy. So you ended up getting an A star, an A star and 2 A's.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
Well, I mean, the A star was in psychology, so.
So okay, I did A levels before the A stars. That's how old I am. What is an A star? Is it over 80% or 85?
I can't remember. Yeah,
That's a lot.
Something like that.
So medicine at Newcastle.
Yeah.
Was that always the goal?
Yes.
Since you were how old?
Medicine since I was like 10, something like that, and then Newcastle since I came on the open day and it was really sunny. So
You just been disappointed
it
ever
was so
since.
sunny there all the time.
Geography wasn't one of your A levels.
No. And I think I was at that age as well, you know, when you just want to go away from home. I was like, oh, mum and dad, I hate you.
And Bristol's the complete opposite side of the country, so you're just like Newcastle.
Luckily for me now, I've grown out of that teenager list and there is a really good flight link. Mm-hmm. So that was lucky. I haven't completely shot myself in the foot.
Very fortunate.
Now I'm like, oh, mum and dad, I do actually love you. You are my parents, and I do want to see you.
It tends to happen when you leave home for a little bit. You start to actually see your parents as people rather than the people who are stopping you from doing stuff.
Yeah, no, that's very true.
Yeah. So 10 years old, you decided you wanted to go into medicine.
Yeah.
So now I remember, I can't remember how old I was. You can feel your beard, it's there. You can just push this away.
Do you want yours?
Yeah. I'm quite enjoying this.
I'm glad you're liking it. I love a whiskey.
My brother will be so proud. Every time I go home and see my brother, he's got like a whiskey cabinet, all like loads of different kinds of whiskies, really expensive, and he tries to show them off to me, and I'm like,
what's his favourite?
Well, I don't know. They're all just whiskies to me. I don't.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So 10 years old. I remember when I was younger. I was like, oh, what do I want to do when I'm older? And doctor was one of the things that was thrown around.
Yeah.
But my dad was like, no, you can't. That's just, not only do you have to be incredibly bright, but you've also got to work.
You have to not be a capitalist, which we've been through.
The viewers don't know anything about me, so they like to keep it that way.
He's a bastard.
It's good content right there. My parents were just like, that's really hard, and you got to work for years and years and years, and then once you qualify, it absorbs most of your life because it's long hours, and I think maybe South maybe back then was a little bit different to what it is now. But it always struck me that it demands a unique set of characteristics from someone. So one, you've got to be incredibly bright. Two, you've got to be incredibly gritty. 3, you've got to be incredibly selfless. Yeah, that's not a usual combination. Normally, if you have 2 of those, you don't have the third.
Yeah.
Which is why whenever I come across medics, I'm always fascinated as to how they've kind of stuck to that and what made them want to do that in the first place.
I wouldn't say that medics were entirely selfless.
But you're doing all that work to help other people.
Yeah, but
I mean, you're still people doing them. I'm sure you just do horrible things, but
I think when you go into it, those are probably the things. It's like you're bright, you're really you don't care about taking exams the rest of your life. You just really, really want to help people, and I think it does stay like that. But sometimes one of the things can drop off. So obviously when you're bright, you go into a cohort of people that are also really bright. You then become dumb. That's the first thing. The second thing, people do lose their resilience, and they think, oh, I don't want to go into that speciality because I want a better lifestyle now.
Well, I think that's the biggest thing. That's like the number one determination to success is grit. By a long way. It's not intellect.
Yeah, it's a slog, definitely. Yeah. It's a slog. And then in terms of selfless, I think you do get... I know so many people that got worn down already and were only in medical school.
Yeah.
And it's not like they hate all people or anything, but it's like you do just become a bit, oh God, like somebody else with this particular condition, or oh God, like this again, you know what I mean? But that's just the nature of it.
Is there any point where you find it a little bit anticlimactic because you've had this idea in your head for so long about what you want to do and what it's going to be like, and you've used that kind of, you visualize what it's going to be like to motivate you for so many years, and you get there and it's different. The only reason why I say this is because I watch Scrubs. And they like have this idea about what's going to be in the first day they get there, and it's all just old people who are pissed off with the doctors and they want to sue them.
Yeah.
But that's America. It's a little bit different to here. Have you had that experience, or has it been completely different?
I haven't had that experience personally. But I know it is a massive issue because people glamorise it. So I'm not very well if I keep sniffing, that's why. People like massively glamorise it, and they think, oh, I'm going to be walking on the wards and like saving all these people. Like, oh, you're cured, and then you're cured, and then like I'll just go over here, do some CPR, and then she's better. That's not how it is. And I think a lot of people who get forced into it get that very much. So if you've been pressured into it by your school, some schools put a lot of pressure on their pupils who achieve quite highly, and they're like, you should do medicine or you should do law. And then they get there, maybe their parents are doctors as well, and they get there and they're like, this isn't what I want. I'm not willing to put the work in. It's not glamorous. I'm just doing like a really mundane job sitting in a GP clinic. It's really boring. And then I think people do definitely find that 100%.
Do you think what proportion of people do you think that start studying medicine finish it?
I think most people finish.
Right.
I don't know what the dropout rate is. You definitely do get...
But more than 50%?
Yeah, I think
Wow.
so. That's obviously a subjective view, but I think definitely more than 50%, yeah.
But anecdotally, it's still... it's something.
Probably less now with everything that's going on, because there's so much sort of like things changing and people just thinking, oh fuck it, I'm just going to throw in the towel and do something different, or I'm going to go to Australia, or I've just had enough of this. There's definitely more of that now.
Well,
but in terms of finishing med school, I'd say most people.
Because they've got to have a certain amount of grit with them, and the kind of reasons why they chose to do that are probably still with them, i.e., as you said, the parents of doctors, or they've been guided that way for a long time.
Yeah.
So what was it with you? Were your parents doctors?
No, my mum's a midwife, and then my dad was a fireman, and now he's like a builder, sort of handyman. He sort of like does odd jobs like for people that we know, but he has got a card, so he's semi-credible.
Yeah.
He works with a bloke called Gary, does the plumbing. I don't know.
Gary might be my dad. Yeah.
All sounds a bit dodgy to me. Stinks of tax evasion.
Shh. This podcast's going out on the internet. So was there like a moment with you, or did you just kind of...
So the moment was...
So there is a moment.
There is
like
a moment, but it was not a very credible moment. I was on holiday. I was like quite young. I was in bed, and my thought was, I want to help people, and I want to earn lots of money. Yeah. Obviously, the reasons for why I want to do it has developed so much since then, but that was like what sort of fixated me on that. And then I started working towards it, and then I got work experience, and then I realised, oh, money's not that good, or I like it can help people by doing this, or like there's these other reasons why I want to do it, and then it just developed from there. But that was like the turning point, I guess.
Just kind of stayed with you from there.
Yeah, it was just a habit, isn't it?
Do you think it's like part of your identity now, though?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We were actually talking about it the other day, because I'll be doing 6 years at uni, because I'm doing research this year rather than doing medicine. So by the time I finish, I'll been a med student for 6 years, and I was saying it's going to be a massive change to my identity to go from a med student to a doctor. I won't be able to say, oh, hi, my name's Imz, I'm a doctor. I'm so used to saying, hi, my name's Imz, I'm a blah, blah, blah medical student. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I think I might have an identity crisis at that point.
You'll still be... It's the same attributes applied to someone who's
I know.
It's similar, isn't it? It's not like you're going, hi, I'm Imz.
I know. I'll be going on the wards today. And they'll be like, oh, are you the new junior doctor? I'll be like, oh no, I'm just a medical student here to shadow.
I've always kind of looked at it and gone, that's amazing. I don't think I had either the grit or the ability to kind of do it, but more importantly, I don't have the selflessness. I don't know if there's something wrong with me by doing that, but I don't think I would have the ability to kind of go through all that sacrifice just to kind of help other people, which I think you kind of got to have a large degree of.
I think it is a lot of sacrifice for something that at the end of the day is not glamorous and not glitzy at all. So it's like, no matter how far you progress, you'll have respect like from the people in the hospital and stuff, but some things like you're never gonna be in a nice environment where you get like free lunch, or you go on these like really fun staff socials where you'll get to go to play space golf or something.
Yeah.
And you're never going to like work in a nice place with a nice coffee machine. Like it's always going to be
a
crummy NHS building with like a microwave that says, please clean after use. We're domestics, not your mothers. Stuff like that.
And the people that you're on the on the course with, are they similar to you in their how they got into it and their views of it, or is it all different walks of life and completely different kind of motivations and drives?
All different, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people from like people. People say there's a lot of people from private schools, I don't know that many people from private schools, but I know there are loads of people from private schools that do it. There's loads of people from state schools as well. Like, I'm from a state school, and I know loads of people that are from state schools as well. People that come from families of doctors, people that come from families that aren't doctors. Loads of people.
You med students are a heavy bunch, though.
A heavy bunch.
Like, I've played rugby with some med students before, and they push things pretty hard in every possible angle. Like,
at socials and stuff.
Yeah, they work really hard, play really hard. The mantra's never more true when it is.
I think it's because even though we're nerdy, we have to be good with people, so you have to be outgoing, because you have to be able to talk to a patient. You can't just be like really introvert and like really awkward, so we like going out and doing stuff as well. I mean, that's obviously very generalist, and it's not like, oh, we all love drinking.
But does
prescribe by day, drink by night.
Do you reckon there's any part of you that thinks, all right, in the future I'm gonna be committed and I'm not gonna have the time that I'm gonna have now, that I have now, so I'm gonna make the most of it?
Drinking beer.
Yeah, that.
I've been worrying about that myself. I'm thirsty, but I don't want to be burpy.
That's right. We'll just rely on the video to explain to people why I keep on taking breaks. Yeah, I always think it's because you guys know that you're in for a heavy career in terms of what it's going to demand from you. So you like...
So getting all under our belt now.
Absolutely, yeah. But I don't know if that's true. And actually once you... Because I've met some doctors, I've played some rugby with some guys who are like 30, 40, and they still party just as hard.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I never think like, oh, I need to get it all in now while I still can. I don't know what it is. It's just a culture like anything. Like agrics, they love drinking all the time, don't they? So.
Yeah. Right, we'll take a break there, and we'll come back in 10 minutes. So, and we're back. So I thought I'd start the next section going back to your boyfriend, because I love him so much.
I see where this is going.
We were out the other day, and there were like 50 of us out, and
on Saturday.
On Saturday, yeah. And your boyfriend wasn't even there, but
he almost came.
Almost, but he was up the previous weekend to be a stripper for you.
Yeah,
you can let him on.
Yeah.
And randomly, someone who I didn't know in the bar came up to me and was like, "Imz or Cam?"
Oh, that was merch, I think, yeah.
And I, without even thinking, just said Cam. Sorry.
Yeah.
I did.
Even though Cam wasn't there and I was, you'd think most people would go, I'll go for the less awkward option, just be like, oh yeah, Imz.
But it's weird that it's a thing.
Yeah.
Why is this a thing?
It honestly is such a thing. It used to be like a running joke that whenever I went anywhere, everyone used to go, where's Cam? And I used to be like, why don't I have an identity? But luckily when he went to Birmingham, people sort of had to accept me as my own entity. So now 2 years later, I'm finally my own person, I think.
What was
but clearly not, because he was still asking the question.
You live in Newcastle, he doesn't, and very close with him.
Yeah. Do you know what? It's just the mystery. That's all it is. Nothing else.
And the beautiful
moustache. Because I'm so
moustache.
easily accessible. I hate the moustache.
You hate the moustache?
Yeah. We haven't had sex once since he's had the moustache.
He's had the moustache for like 6 months. That can't be true. Can't be true.
Don't run it for that way. We're in a long distance relationship, okay?
He's been up loads since then.
Do you still have the moustache now?
Yeah. Well, last time I saw him.
He's sort of like grown out now.
Yeah. Does have a tremendous ability.
That's a technicality if you ever wanted one. So he asked me to say the word to you, Mongo.
Mongo?
Yeah, what does that mean?
I actually have no idea.
Oh, really?
Mongo?
Yeah, it might be mango. No, it's Mongo. Okay, well, we'll move on, because I'm not sure.
Must have been a joke he had of a previous girlfriend. I don't know.
It might be. It happens to me.
Text him, see what he says.
I have texted him. Asked him.
Mongo.
A Mr. and Mrs. question, but he's not replied. Do you think you'll marry him?
Cam. Aw. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't. If we carry on like we are.
Okay, that's a very diplomatic answer.
Obviously. Yeah, because things could change. Like
life.
I could turn into a bitch next year.
It could happen.
I'm not already one, I promise.
And then, 20 minutes.
Or he could whatever. But Yeah, no, we're great at the moment, so I don't see any reason why not. But
Do you ever have an idea of your perfect man when you were 10 years old?
no, not really.
You had an idea of your career, but not your
Not my
wedding
perfect
day.
man. No,
That's
no.
unusual for a girl, though, no, isn't it?
I've had a very varied interest, so.
You've had a varied interest.
Yeah, I've liked a lot of different kind of people, so.
Okay, so your tastes have changed.
Yeah, definitely.
So what did you start out with?
I started out with a very ugly ginger boy, which subsequently has meant I've had a thing for gingers ever since. Some weird psychological thing going on there.
Yeah. So Freud, what colour hair's your dad got?
My dad?
I was going to say it's a Freudian, but
Oh,
it's
no,
not.
it's not Freudian, it's brown hair.
Okay.
No firemen or builders. And then a lot of people from different ethnicities, and then Cam. And it's funny because before I came to uni, I said to my dad, he was like driving me up, and he was like, oh, like what if you like meet someone at uni? I was like, I don't want to meet someone for my first year at uni, but when I do, I want them to be like a cool surfer dude that like surfs. Anyway, Cam had like, when I first met him, one of the things he was like, I've just brought a surfboard. I was like, oh well, I'll have to be with you then. Anyway, he never actually used the surfboard. Cam's got a bit of a thing where he likes to get invested in an expensive hobby, buy all the paraphernalia for it, and then never do it. So he had this surfboard, and have you heard about this?
No, I was going to go into the hockey incident.
The ice hockey incident, yeah.
Whoa,
bought
what's
the
that?
Jiu-jitsu incident,
Is
yeah.
are you out of jiu-jitsu now?
Yeah, he's not doing it anymore, and he
Oh,
also
he was so
moved from
into
a gi jiu-jitsu to a no gi jiu-jitsu, which meant
Planet
that
10.
all that money spent on a gi was...
The hockey one was priceless.
What's the hockey one? I want to hear the hockey story.
So he started. Correct me if I'm wrong. He started training with this ice hockey team and got like really into it for like the pre-season element, and then they were like, right, it's time to get kits now for the new season. It's X amount of money deposit. I don't know how much it was. It wasn't cheap though. It's like this amount of money. You get a shirt with the name on the back, all the rest of the gear, and then it came to like the season, and he was just like over it. So now he has a jersey with what's on the back. I'm assuming.
Yeah. So he can't sell it.
Just never used it.
That's fascinating because he studies medicine as well, doesn't he? He's
Yeah.
a biomed, so
He's very
obviously
like
got to
all or nothing.
But he's got to have a lot of grit and determination and to see things through, and that's the opposite.
I'm so surprised he's not in a jiu-jitsu. He was so into that.
Yeah, no, he's only just dropped it.
The first time I met him, he was on the floor rolling around with Jake.
I know. I couldn't take him to Prees anywhere. We'd literally be like having a nice chat. Like, what have you done today? Blah, blah, blah. I'd like talk around, talk to someone for a minute, like, oh yeah, hair looks nice, whatever, and then turn around. He'd just be on the floor wrestling with some random person he'd never met before.
I love that, man. It's brilliant. What do you think has been you're only 24. What do you think has been your biggest struggle to date?
Struggle.
Tough times make a person.
Huh?
Tough times make a person. This is the People Podcast.
Fun or serious?
Up to you. I'll let you run with it.
Both.
Yeah, sure. Seriously fun.
Biggest struggle. I mean, obviously every exam is a struggle.
How often are you in your exams?
How often we examined? Normally like twice a year, something like that.
You got a big obstacle to overcome twice a year.
Yeah, but that's quite a, quite mundane one. I had an incident when I was 16 where I accidentally set a light to my clothes. So that was quite a struggle to overcome.
You set a light to your clothes?
Yeah.
How'd this happen?
I was just cooking and then it like just caught fire to my top and just went up. So that was quite a struggle.
Were at home with your parents? And
Yeah, I was at home with my parents, and luckily, my dad's a fireman, so he put me out.
Very lucky.
Yeah. But then...
How did you catch the light?
it was like a gas hob.
Right. And it just caught your sleeve and then...
It just caught the bottom of my top,
What,
yeah.
were you wearing like a nylon top or...?
Well, when we looked at the top afterwards to see what it was made of, that actually the only thing that was remaining of the label that was the little warning sign that said, this is flammable, do not put close to fire.
Like a nylon top got up in flames on you?
Yeah, and then I sort of like took it off and it set fire to my hair and stuff. And then I was on the floor and my dad like threw water on me.
Was that the only like lasting damage? Your hair though, you didn't get any scars or burns or?
Oh, I've got scars now, but like I can see them. You can see them. You can only really see them if I wear a bikini, and even then, I think to other people it's not that noticeable. It's just to me. But I remember getting in the shower and like all my skin went black, and it started like falling off, and I was like,
yeah, I'm petrifying at 16.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
But then I went to hospital and like they took me to surgery and they were really, really good. So,
So you get plastic surgery, you get operated on?
Yeah, so I got this thing called BioBrain, which is like it basically stops you from needing a skin graft. So it sort of comes on. It's like almost like a pig skin, and they put it on, and then as it peels off, you trim it away. And then your new skin grows underneath, and then that makes it like stops you from getting scar tissue.
Right. Okay. So I've also got quite bad burns.
Oh,
all over
really?
me. Yeah. So Copenhagen beach party, full moon beach party.
Oh yeah.
You know those big paraffin buckets that they have, and they dip the ropes, and then they light the ropes on fire.
Oh really?
So the big crowds of people that are like looking to run through the rope and stuff like that. And when I went on, they just wet the rope, and like it was full of paraffin. There was a light, and as they flung it, the load of paraffin landed in the sand, and you were like diving through the rope and landing on the sand.
Yeah.
Where there was paraffin. So I've got like sand / paraffin that got stuck to my shoulders as I rolled. So all over here and all over here is just like, I'll show you.
I didn't know
God,
that.
yeah.
It's like a little like.
Yeah.
It's not as bad now as what it was, what it used to be.
Yeah.
But I didn't go to the hospital or anything.
Is that quite common for those sort of things?
I don't know. I only went to one full
Like,
moon
did you
party.
at the time when you were like, oh my god, this is terrible? Was everyone like, oh, that's bad, haha, funny? Or
Oh no, there were a couple of people that like grabbed me and pulled me aside, and there's a little medic there that like helped me out and put the like ice packs on me. And
yeah.
Kind of an hour later, I was probably dancing and just
Didn't care.
yeah, didn't care. 'Cause you're 19.
Did it hurt in the morning when you woke up?
Oh, for days,
Yeah.
for days. Like it was
In that heat as well.
yeah, and you
Aw.
have like bandages on you and stuff like that.
Yeah. But
So-
you were like milking it, being like, look at my bandages.
That's as I do, yeah. So and you are a female rugby player.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Interesting, unusual. How'd you get into that?
I got into that in 3rd year. So I've always liked rugby, always been interested in it, always liked it. I did it in PE at school, and then I did a few extra classes outside school, but there wasn't ever enough interest in like the group outside school to actually form a team. I think there's only 4 of us ever turned up, which obviously isn't enough for a rugby team. So yeah, and then I think 1st and 2nd year I wasn't really confident enough to just join a new society. I was like a bit shy. I had Cam as well, and then 3rd year he was out of the picture, and then I just thought, I'm just gonna go for it.
It's out of the picture.
Yeah, because he went down to Birmingham.
Right, okay. When you say out of the picture, you just mean he was somewhere else.
Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah.
Let's go to beat there for a second.
Yeah. We did break up for a period of time, but
No,
I thought
don't
I
tell me
won't talk
that.
to you about that because it's quite traumatic for you. But
I feel
yeah.
you, buddy. You can. Don't worry about it.
So he was down in Birmingham, and I had more time, and I just thought I'd try something new, and then yeah, I just picked up from there.
So what kind of attracted you to, because there's loads of things you could have done.
I just wanted to play in a team sport, and it's quite hard to start a new sport at uni because everyone plays netball. If they play netball, they've done it at county level, or like hockey or anything. Everyone's already really good at it, whereas rugby is anything you can really learn from scratch. And I wanted to be part of a team, wanted to do a sport, so I just thought, yeah,
What position do you play?
So I play wing or 13, but I've predominantly played wing this season.
So you rapid, very fast.
I would say that, but...
Score many tries?
No. We've actually lost every game in the season, so
no way.
it's not a good season for
But
Newcastle women's rugby.
You still go every week and train every week and...
Yeah. I'm on committee, so...
You're on committee?
Yeah, so I'm kit sec, so I'm the glorified launderette of the team.
Sexy.
But, oh yeah, I know. That's why I picked it.
The glamorous life doesn't pick you.
And I'm in charge of like making sure all the right equipment is at training and stuff. But our first game, I turned up to the game like with the bibs, and they were like, I was like, right, I'm ready to go out. Who wants to go and like have a kick around, like throw it around? And they were like, yeah, where's the balls? I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't have them. Anyway, I'd forgotten the balls, the bibs, the kicking tee, the subcoats, everything, basically everything.
Doing your job really well then.
Yeah, no, and the other day I had a bit of a mishap where I was supposed to, they had an away game, the seconds had an away game, and I was supposed to drop the strips off at the where the bus was leaving from at 8:45 or something like that. Anyway, I'd obviously gone out the night before. Woke up at 10 with the strip still next to me, and I was like, I've never woken up so fast, and you're like, and I rang the second team captain, and I was like, Jenny, and she was like, wait, are they not on the bus? I was like, they're not on the bus. She was like, oh my god. So I went to, I got on a taxi and went to the train station to get the train down to York. They were playing, thank god it was only York. And then she called me and was like, oh, don't worry, the game's been cancelled. So it worked out fine, really. It worked out fine. I got a Burger King in the train station and then went home.
A Burger King in the train station is one of those rituals that I love. It's just like an extra large double bacon cheeseburger wherever you go anywhere. It's the only time I ever have one, but it just makes the train journey
Do you know what I hate about Newcastle though, is that the Burger King is so cold.
Oh really?
Yeah, because it's like in that old stone building. Do you know what I mean?
The Burger King in Central Station is just shit in general.
Yeah.
It's very expensive.
It's just like it just looks super old. Like it's I don't know. It's not on normal Burger King standards.
So what's your go-to order?
Extra large bacon double cheeseburger. There's nothing else.
Aren't you? Did you go through a period of being a vegan or no? Am I making that up?
No. I'm trying to currently.
it was Cam.
Yeah.
I
And
can remember.
Luke as well.
Yeah.
I'm trying to currently do like veggie weekdays, but I mean, I had a roast chicken sandwich today.
Similar stuff.
You did the vegan thing for a while, didn't you?
6 weeks, yeah.
6 weeks is.
Yeah, it initially was hard. I got alright with it, but to be fair, it was more of it's just Newcastle isn't built for it. Like if you get caught out, like if you're out and about and you need something to eat, it really isn't just set up for it. So
what did you miss the most?
To be fair, it taught me quite a lot about nutrition and stuff in general. Like I just put meat and things for the sake of like bulking a meal out as opposed to really thinking about what was in it. So but I still eat a lot of chicken now.
Did you go on a massive meat binge after you finished being
No, not
vegan?
really. What it was, I went to me and my girlfriend Charlotte went to the Dominican Republic, and like I was like but it was like an all inclusive, and there was like a steakhouse there, like on the resort and stuff. So I was like, I'm probably gonna end up just treating this holiday as like a little vacation away from that as well. But I got to like Heathrow and then had black pudding and stuff, and then like I was like, well, in for a penny, in for a pound. And then we got to the hotel, and I had like, we went to the steakhouse on the first night, and then I just didn't go back. I do as a result eat less meat now though. Like, I don't, because
you know that you can do without it.
I just put a lot of it in for the sake of it all the time.
What's the drive? Is it environmental
So Charlotte did it initially for environmental reasons. We watched like a few documentaries and stuff, and there was arguments. Yeah, there is arguments that it's bad for the environment in terms of like the mass production of cattle and stuff. But for me, it was I was to say if it made me feel any better. Which initially made me feel awful. It made me because I'm not eating that amount of veg, so I just like was completely bloated.
Yeah.
Like my stomach was just like in knots for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It does go away, but I just didn't see that much of a change. I thought I was gonna feel like invincible because I was eating all this fruit and veg and stuff.
That's how it's marketed, isn't it?
Yeah, I just didn't. I guess I felt a little bit better, but.
Sorry, am I overtaking your role?
No, absolutely. You're doing a sterling job.
Is that a little death stare you gave me then?
The reason I ask, I'm sure.
So you had that whole bit out, or I was asking you questions.
I'm at the start. It's not worth showing, right? What is this shit?
This is the Brett Show, late night with Brett.
I'm not a vegan anymore. I take it. Is that another fad he's grown out of?
No, he's not. I'm not sure he was ever vegan. I think he was just veggie.
No,
now he's like a responsible consumer, which basically means.
Is that a thing? Is that a label?
Vegetarian until he's with me, and I'm like, let's get a KFC.
I tried like last week. I went like 4 days without eating meat. I tried like when I actively think about it, it's not too hard. But I say if you like just like driving somewhere and you need to pick up something, like a lot of the time it's just Newcastle's just not okay with it. I was in London at the weekend, and that you can do it easy. It's everywhere, like vegan food, but not here. The reason I asked was because I swear Will went to your house and you made him like a vegan
I made him
lasagna or something, or
a
something.
lasagna,
like
yeah, butternut squash lasagna. That had cheese in it, so
wasn't technically.
yeah.
I commend people that are vegetarians and vegans, especially if they're doing it because of environmental or ethical reasons. The people that do it because they don't like the taste, those guys are just glory hunters. They're just well, I'm doing it, not eating
doing
anyway.
It for attention, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like you just have something you don't like, don't make a big deal out of it.
Yeah, you can just earn extra balance.
Charlotte's kind of went back to, well, not veganism, but she's predominantly veggie now. Like, she never eats meat anymore.
I always just worry about what I wouldn't be able to do.
What do you mean?
Exercise wise, concentration wise,
That's what
stamina
I find
wise.
difficult, definitely. Because I'm doing like veggie weekdays, and I find that difficult if I'm like training, and then you come back and.
What do you notice if you feel like you're weaker as a result, or?
I've never noticed that I feel weaker, but it just means that I have to drink protein shakes more. Whereas before, I'd come home and I'd have chicken.
Yeah.
Now it's like I have vegetables and a protein shake. Where I'd rather. The whole point of one of the points of training obviously is like to come home and like enjoy your food and be like, that's a fuel for me. And you can't really do that as much when you're veggie. You can eat beans obviously, but
you've got to be a lot
for gram you've got to eat
yeah.
more beans and you've got more carbs, like all these other things.
Yeah, I see both arguments. There was I can't remember the name of the guy. There was a guy on Joe Rogan talking about it, and he was saying the people that are vegan for sort of environmental reasons and the love of animals and stuff, like per sort of animal, being vegan kills more, because you've got to essentially, like, for the space to grow tofu for example, you've got to basically kill like all the rabbits and stuff that are like kind of ever inhabit that space. Like you just literally just trample them with like a tractor. Like on average that you kill a lot more stuff, so it doesn't really add up, but people don't really think of it that way.
Yeah, it's like with soya milk and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, some of the soya thing. So we're getting sidetracked on veganism,
That's fine.
The
Do you
soya
want to
thing.
Like, make yourself a drink. Get me one as well if you want.
The thing with soya is the
What, mine or yours?
the thing with soya is the soybeans predominantly are being grown to the soybeans that are being grown are predominantly to feed the cattle to maintain that the actual the maintenance of the cattle themselves. That's what the soya is being grown for a lot of the time. But I don't know. You can go both ways. I don't know.
I don't even like meat. The meat that I eat that much, I eat it out of habit. I obviously grew up in South Africa, and I was really spoiled with meat. So the meat there is very, very good. It's like one of the that and racism. Those are the two things we do really, really well. And the meat in the UK, no disrespect, it's nowhere near as good. So I could quite easily do without it. It's not the taste thing for me. It's the what would I be missing out in terms of being able to perform at work or exercising and that sort of thing.
But in terms of like your brain function at work, and I wouldn't imagine it was going to have that much of an impact.
I'm very sensitive.
Your brain can only work on glucose anyway, so
Sugar, right?
yeah.
I know stuff.
So
So
that argument's out.
but yeah, no, I know what you mean about training.
Well, it's just a fear more than anything. I'm actually trying to
The
test
positive
it.
thing is like I felt lighter, because obviously it takes a long time to digest meat.
Being like
I wasn't actually like, I just felt more like
season's
mobile
fine.
because I felt more mobile because it didn't have like a big hunk of meat inside me trying to digest.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you there.
Do we have time to get the Instagram up for the remainder of this segment?
Let me check. I've got like 5-6 minutes, so I can bang it.
Oh, is that my little sound wave?
It is a little sound wave.
Oh.
The little one.
Oh, it's not too loud. I thought it'd be like really.
Yeah, now
really
you should have
loud.
seen it earlier.
Give me
Oh, shut up.
just,
all over the place.
Give me 2 seconds. Right, I'm just gonna pop
You've
this on
opened
the
up all your
screen.
files. It's a bit risky with some pictures on there.
That's not recording now, wouldn't worry.
So you've travelled quite a lot, haven't you? You've been to South America,
Yeah.
Europe.
Yeah, I'm quite lucky. No, I haven't really done much Europe. Been to Budapest with Cam.
That must
I've
be
obviously
amazing.
like been places with my parents when I was like a lot younger. Been to Southeast Asia on my gap year.
Which parts of the Southeast Asia did you do?
Cambodia, Vietnam, Thailand, Laos, Malaysia. What a massive surprise.
Yeah, it's the route, isn't it? It's the big circle, the question mark.
And then I went to India on my gap year, and then I went back to India for my elective, and then to Sri Lanka, and then I've been to South America as well.
Nice, okay. Favourite place?
Sri Lanka, definitely.
Place you'd live?
Place I'd live?
Yeah.
Right now?
Choose a place to live and never leave.
I have to work there as well.
Yeah, well, if you want to work.
Like, don't know. I guess Sri Lanka is my favourite place, or I did really like Budapest as well.
That's the cool thing about being a doctor, right? There's people everywhere.
Yeah, sick people everywhere. Just cash in on them.
Business, all of the places.
No, literally.
Yeah, I can't do that. It's not stocks everywhere.
There's not stocks everywhere.
So this is your Instagram. We've got it up.
Yeah.
Do you want to walk us through? Who's that little black guy?
Well, that might need some clarification.
For those people who are listening to the audio only, I'm talking about a dog.
That is the new puppy.
Oh.
Arrived home to find mum and dad have replaced me with a pupper! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark!
You can blame him.
exclamation
Look
mark.
at that little guy. Is it a
I
guy or a
didn't realise
girl?
how many likes puppy's got. 165.
Yeah, I know.
What type of dog is that?
It's a Cocker Spaniel.
Oh, we've just got a new one in the office called Eric.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I love it when dogs have really human names. That's something I
Nigel.
really like. Yeah. Barry.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Love it.
Oh, Christ, he got a lot of likes.
Yeah, have you ever
No.
walked around town with a dog? The
Yeah.
amount of girls and people in general that just come up to you is phenomenal. Where's the place in the top right? That looks amazing.
That's Sri Lanka.
Jesus.
That's my friend Cara who I went on my elective with.
Dickhead on a chair.
Literally, it was the classic. She sat on the deck chair, it fell through. It was just like that is the classic holiday scenario.
I'm getting a lot of likes here, Imz.
I know,
You didn't know I was hot shit, did you?
No, I had no clue who we were getting on this podcast.
Oh, that's me and Kat. I think that was my...
There he is. Look at him. Majestic.
Oh, that's our anniversary.
On the boat.
Yeah, that's his doggo. Do you like our pumpkin? We went as Halloween, we went as 5 little pumpkins.
Very cute. Are those the girls you live with now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know Ribby.
Who?
That's me with a bunny. I thought that would get me some likes, but it didn't.
Did you? So,
But, I
are
mean,
you a
it-
fan of social media? Do you use it?
I'm
rig.
absolutely addicted to Facebook, which is the most uncool thing.
How are you still addicted to Facebook? That's
Because-
so 2007.
I know that. I just
that one.
I just love memes. I just love memes so much. Yeah, that's him after he got into med school.
That was a celebration.
Yeah.
He looks like a doctor there.
Well, this is back in the days where you
Yeah,
didn't
he's-
get anywhere near as many likes.
I think the nurses are going to fancy him so much.
Oh, absolutely.
You did not
Everyone
get-
fancies Cam. even
Yeah, I know, it's
even
an
straight
issue.
awesome guys.
That's Rosie who you used to do CrossFit with.
I don't
Yeah.
recognise her.
Yeah.
Go down. That's me and Cam with swapped faces.
It's weird how you look more handsome.
Oh, that's an us in Bud. Oh no, that's us in Amsterdam.
It looks like Amsterdam.
He
Which
surprised
one?
me for my 21st by
Right.
taking me to Amsterdam.
Gosh, you guys.
You know, Robin was talking about she got the ferry over.
Mhm.
We did that, yeah.
How was that?
It was really fun. We have this thing where when we go on holiday together, we don't have a very good time though, because he will disagree with me here. But basically, like, I get so het up about having a good time.
Mhm.
I'm like, are we having fun? It sort of like kills the vibe a bit.
Right. Okay.
So that happened then. But on the last day, we had fun because I'd relaxed by that point. But we also had an incident where we were on the tram and I was like, where's my bag? Like, you were looking after my bag. And he was like, oh shit, I left it in the coffee shop.
Is that
And I was like, oh, it had my passport in it. So I was like, But we went back and it was just on the middle of the floor of this coffee shop. So
Nice.
it worked out fine.
well, stoners aren't going to steal anything. They're not agile enough.
No, literally not. They were like, oh, look at that unicorn on the floor in the middle over there.
I don't think you know what weed does to you.
No, I don't smoke weed. Can you tell?
And that's a nice place to end part 2. We'll come back to part 3
Cool.
soon. So it's 2018. I've noticed over the last year, especially working within finance, which isn't the most respectful industry, that the Me Too movement, the Me Too thing has had a big impact on the way people treat people. And I've even noticed that on nights out, like you can't go up to a girl and talk to them as easily. It definitely feels different.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely. So have you ever had a Me Too moment, or have you ever had any kind of incident where you've accidentally been racist or politically incorrect or anything like that with someone?
I've definitely had a few moments where I've been like accidentally politically incorrect and also accidentally racist as well. In terms of like the Me Too thing, I've never, nothing that sticks out. I mean, I've had times, I think it's different for me because I feel like I've had more times where like I have done something with someone and technically you have consented, but you feel pressured into consenting and you don't actually want to, but you feel there's that expectation on you to do that.
Wait, how does that work?
I know it's really difficult to explain, and I would never ever blame the guy for that, because obviously you've said yes or like you've gone into their room or whatever, but it's difficult to explain when there's like that expectation on you and you do it even though you're not really that attracted to them, you don't really want to, and then you come away from it and I would never ever blame them. I'd never make them feel bad about it. I would never tell anybody or any of their friends or any of like anyone who would report back or anything like that they'd done something wrong, because I haven't done anything wrong. Mm-hmm. But it's just sometimes there's that pressure on a girl to do something when you don't want to, and you come away from it and you still have that feeling of like dirtiness. And
but I'll say it as a guy.
I'm sure you have the same.
Absolutely,
Yeah, 100%.
That. So you are drunk, you're on a night out, and you are chatting to a girl and she suggests going back to yours or going back to hers or what have you, and you agree to it before you even known you agreed to it.
Yeah, or you feel like you've led them on, or
Absolutely. And then
you get the ick.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're like, oh shit, what am I doing here? And you just kind of go, oh,
yeah.
It's the lesser of two evils.
Yeah, definitely.
It hasn't happened to me for a long time, but yeah.
Yeah, it does happen. I think it happens to everyone. I hate that when you get the ick.
Yeah.
Once you've had it as well. Oh.
You start sobering up a little bit as well. And, like,
and then everything they do is like, oh no.
So you've been with Cam for a long time. We won't talk about him anymore. But
It's fine, you can if you want.
Before
what
then,
do you need to know? You've already asked me for his number.
I've got his number.
Did you use my conversation starters, by the way?
I did, yeah.
You did?
Which
one did you use?
Room.
Oh, he loves tidying his room. Yeah, he does love tidying his room.
I text Imz saying, can I have your boyfriend's number? I think we'd really hit it off.
Wow.
Do you like how I made you wait for it as well?
A day and a half.
I thought you remember how long it was as well. Sitting by the phone.
That bitch. What were we talking about?
What conversation starter, that you used with them, tidying the room?
No, before that.
Oh, before that. Oh, right, okay.
No, okay. So other relationships, other guys, anyone that kind of like sparked your interest, or was there any kind of different guy that led you down a path that you kind of...
I don't know, I think they're all so different from him. Like, every guy that I've had before Cam has cheated on me. So, obviously Cam's very different to that. So, they're all just different. It's all like, growing up, I'm very young, I want to sleep with like all these bad guys, you know.
That's part of being young, I suppose.
Yeah,
isn't it? You traveled a lot when you were younger. And...
Yeah. But yeah, it's just part of being young. But like, they weren't nice. It wasn't that they're probably nice now. It's just like a growing up thing. It's just like they're young at the time. Like, one of the boyfriends had another girlfriend the same time we were together.
Yeah, I've heard that story a few times. Like,
what about me? Or...
No.
I was gonna say, wow, big news.
That Imz. No, I've heard the story a few times where someone has been in a relationship with someone, and for like the relationship
think, how could she never know?
Yeah, how?
I know.
Like,
I'm like, how could I never know?
But also, how could you do that? Like, how could you possibly be with someone for 6 months or a year, and at the same time, like, I've been in a relationship before, and I have always struggled to balance all the balls. Like, it's so much work.
Yeah.
Even the good ones. How someone can manage two of those, I will never know.
Yeah, I think it's just something. I don't think nobody ever like sets out expecting to do that, but they sort of they just slip into it. So it's like, oh, I've met this girl that I like, but like, oh, there's this other girl that I like. Oh, I'll just keep texting both of them, and then they just grow and they evolve like that. I don't think it's set out to be malicious. It's not like I'm definitely gonna have 2 girlfriends at the same time.
Maybe that's the doctor in you trying to see the best in people.
Trying to protect my pride.
So this is a question. So I asked your boyfriend, what kind of? Is
this the Mr. and Mrs. question?
No. This is
right, okay.
This
is that coming
question.
later?
Yeah, this is
Right,
saved for the last act. I asked him what question would he ask, and he said he would like to ask you what your proudest moment is.
My proudest moment. He knows what my proudest moment is. So when I was 19,
very well established.
I was in a food competition and I ate 1.5 kilograms of ribs in 18 minutes. Proudest moment.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Did you
Face on the wall of fame. Nobody else had done it apart from 2 other guys.
That's incredible. My mouth is literally ajar.
And I was doing it with like these other 2 guys that we were travelling with, and they like tapped out. And I had a side of mash as well.
Where was this?
In Cambodia, in Kampot, I think it was, if you went there.
I have.
So yeah, I mean, that was my proudest moment.
So how many of you were there sitting eating ribs?
Maybe 5 of us, and 3 of us went for the challenge. Yeah, and then it was like, if you do it under 20 minutes, you get it for free. If you do it under half an hour or something, you get so much money off it. If you do it under an hour, it's like half price or something.
Did you enjoy it?
It was delicious. I really, really, really wanted to be sick afterwards because I was like so full, but you know, and you feel like you have to hold on to the glory. I was like, I need to suffer this pain.
Are you a big eater in general?
Yeah, definitely.
Have you seen that YouTube Instagram star from Newcastle Uni? That blonde girl, she's very attractive.
Is that the really, really skinny one?
Yeah. She does like the man versus food challenge.
Yeah, she absolutely smashes it.
Like,
yeah,
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
I think so. Yeah, I think I have.
It's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
It's amazing.
Where
did she put it? I don't understand. Yeah.
It's phenomenal. So that's you. But have you done any other food challenges?
I haven't done any other food challenges.
Just the one. So you
Just
could
the
be.
one,
You could
yeah.
be her. Just undiscovered.
Undiscovered. I don't know. I do have pretty big binges on a Sunday night, so. I think it's that thing, you know what you were saying about when you were like vegan and then you had one meat thing and then it was like went all out of control.
Yeah.
I think like for me it's like if I ever try to calorie count, it will go for a number of weeks and it always ends up with like a massive binge. Yeah.
Well, why would you ever try and calorie count?
I think just like I don't do it anymore. I'm sure I probably will again in the future though. I don't anymore, but like obviously you want to lose weight, you want to look good. And then you calorie count because you're like, I want to look a certain way. And then for me, it always ended up in a binge. So
it's aesthetics rather than training.
Yeah, I think definitely. I don't feel like that anymore. But I think no, I don't. I think from when you're like that, it comes from a place of quite low confidence. And then I think as you get older, you get more confidence and you realise you have more to offer than how big or small certain parts of your body are. And then you don't feel the need to do those things as much.
Well, I was speaking to a girl about this the other day, and they were saying when they were young, they kind of saw all of their value in the way that they looked.
Yeah.
And she started speaking about that for a while, and you realised, well, the way that you look is so subjective.
Yeah.
No matter what you look like,
yeah.
you're always going to find criticism. So you could look perfect to someone, and you look completely horrible to someone else. So to be able to kind of chase that goal that is completely unquantifiable and undefinable is just a never-ending kind of chore. Yeah,
definitely. And I think if you've got low confidence, it's quite easy to fix on how you look, being as the only thing that defines you. But then as you get older, I mean, if you ask me what defines me, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you. But like, I know I have other things to offer.
But you're a med student for
other
a start.
than other than. You told me not to do that.
Well, we're gonna have to pause. I've been holding on to it for a while, but it's lost it. We'll be right back. Right, and we'll start with the last segment. Do you want to start with a shot?
Yeah.
I believe you've given us a gift as well.
Oh yeah. Here you go.
Thanks very much, because it's Christmas time.
What's
Christmas
your
mince
favourite
pie.
Christmas song?
Oh, Jingle Bells.
Horrendous choice.
I'm not like not a Christmassy person.
Definitely the Pogues. I mean, if you're
What's
gonna
your favourite?
the Pogues, I think.
There's that one, that Irish
was,
one.
but
There's a lot of controversy about that this year.
There's
Yeah.
that Irish one where they go.
Yeah.
Is that?
I don't know what that was, but it is Irish.
Yeah.
Must be the one I mean.
Yeah, probably.
Because I'm in with everyone. Thank you very much.
That's
So we
okay.
get a card.
Tesco's finest, everybody.
Shit.
Do you want one now?
Yeah, bust one all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jared, you do it. So yeah, just to finish off, we've got a few points.
Yeah.
You live in a house with 6 girls and 1 guy.
Yes. Well, yeah.
I loved that time in my life where I was living with loads of other people. It was thoroughly eventful. At the time,
so
you kind of
good.
think it's a little bit grating and what have you, and people don't clean up dishes and stuff. You look back at it and it's just like, that was awesome. Loved it.
Yeah, no, it's so good.
And you have some crazy stories, I bet, because you always get up to something with 7 people under one
Yeah.
roof.
I love living with the girls. I love living with David. Do you like that?
Yeah.
Do you know what it is?
La, 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 la.
Frisbee.
I sent all those Christmas cards out last year, but obviously I can't send them out again. So
Yeah.
I'm just giving them out to people now.
Charity.
Yeah, we'll have to rip it in half.
Yeah.
I'll have the llama.
Cheers.
Yeah, because obviously you don't live together, but, you can fight over it.
We'll put it on display.
Cheers.
in
Are we
here.
are we shotting it again?
Yeah, mine's bigger than yours though.
Oh, you can put some more in if you want.
Yeah, it's lovely.
I'm glad I've got you into whiskey.
Yep.
You look like you really love it.
I do enjoy it. It just hurts. But it's a nice pain.
It's something I feel like something you can like quite easily be pretentious over as well.
Yeah,
When I'm
absolutely.
older, I'll be really. You did what with whiskey?
You put Coke with
You
it?
did what? Jack Daniels, get out.
It's not even whiskey. I can hear my brother in you now.
Is he still in South Africa? Yeah.
So, yeah.
So we're not gonna like meet and have a big romance anytime soon.
If you did, it would be more than one question to ask from it.
Yeah, I know. I regret saying that. Cut that out.
So okay.
Yeah, so sorry, yeah, living with-
we were going to go to the but okay. Well, you said something interesting where you were like, when I'm older and I'm looking back at myself drinking whiskey. What does the 35-year-old Imz look like? What's she doing?
I mean, she's clearly an alcoholic.
Well, I mean, she's an alcoholic at 24.
Shot of whiskey before she goes to work. 35-year-old Imz. Hopefully a successful plastic surgeon.
No.
Yeah.
No.
No. People get very confused about what plastic surgery means, though. It's like people think it's just like boob jobs and nose jobs and fillers, but it's plastics is more based on. So plastics comes from plasticity to like remold. So it's more based on reconstructive stuff. So it's more based on burns victims and people who like shove their hands in things they shouldn't shove their hands in and need to have their hands remolded and stuff like that. So it's really interesting because I really like surgery. It's the only thing I do which I feel like actually makes an impact, and I don't get bored when I'm doing it. I'm not looking at the clock. I'm not like, oh my god, I've got...
Sorry, but my only understanding I have of what you do is from Scrubs. So
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
So in my understanding, you do med school at uni, and then you go into the practical world, and you get split into two. You wear green coats and you wear blue coats. The green coats do surgery and the blue coats do medicine. So I assumed you studied medicine. That meant you were blue coats. So you didn't do the surgery, but that's obviously not true. So you do the surgery, right?
No, so studying medicine just means it's an MBBS, which is... oh my god, I don't know what it stands for. Masters of... Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery. Oh my god.
This isn't an exam, don't worry.
I'm going to get hate mail. But yeah, basically you do both. And then you do 5 years. You have varying exposures of each because you have little parts of the course where you can choose what you want to do, like exposure-wise.
Are you allowed to talk about what surgeries you've done?
Yeah, I can do it as long as it hasn't got any... So as long as I don't tell you where I was or any patient identifiable information.
So have you ever had your hands inside someone?
Oh yeah.
And they've been alive? Well, obviously.
Alive, yeah.
'cause you're not
We
a
have to do
coroner.
like vaginal examinations and speculums, yeah.
Whoa.
And when I had I did a plastic surgery placement for 6 weeks, and because it was in a county that wasn't that big, it was quite small, so it was quite a small sort of run clinic. They let me do a lot because they got to know me, and they started off with being like, can you cut this, and being like, can you stitch this, and then it was like, can you cut this?
Was it not like when you first started doing that, a moment when you were just like freaked out, like this is a person?
I mean, I think because they ease you into it. When you're just cutting a string, you're not like, oh my god, I'm gonna kill them. You're like, I'm pretty safe here.
So if I see like Casualty or ER or something like that, and I
think that's where you're going wrong. You're comparing me to like Grey's Anatomy and Scrubs.
Well, I can't watch that stuff. Like if I say, so I used to go hunting as a kid and fishing and that sort of thing.
Really?
And used to cut like anything that we killed. My dad would say, "All right, you've got to skin the animal. You've got to gut the animal."
Oh, cool.
Oh yeah, and
What's your favourite animal to gut or skin?
I don't like any especially fish. It's the worst. Like because fish smells terrible.
Yeah.
Like there's just a north, but the fish guts. Oh, that on steroids. Like it's just so okay. You get a fish. You cut its gills, you rip the gills out, and you put the knife in the bum hole, and you slit it all the way out to the gills, and then you put your hand inside, and you grab all its organs, and you pull it out, and then you can with that you've got all the little heart and lungs, and all the little stomach, and the fish, and the coral, and everything that it's been eating, and it's the most pungent, strongest smell.
How
and
old were you when you were doing this?
Oh, from the age of 4 or 5 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you eat fish now?
I eat fish. I don't like it.
I eat fish, but it makes me cry every time.
So I know full well I could never, all other things aside, could never be a surgeon. I could never cut someone open, look inside them, and be like, "Cool, let's work here today."
Yeah.
It would never be something I'd be able to do. So in that moment, never kind of crossed your mind where you were like, "This is crazy. I've got my hands inside a person."
Not really. I just love the practicality of it. I love it.
It's not like a pungent smell.
Not really. No, there's no pungent smell. I did a because I'm doing a research year this year, and part of it was a anatomy module where you're doing dissection on like cadavers. So obviously they've been embalmed, they've been passed away, they've been dead for sometimes over a year. That can have quite a pungent smell.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. Yeah, just a little bit.
Wow.
And
that's worse than gutting fish.
I found that really hard. I've never been squeamish. Because whenever we've learnt anatomy, we've had pro-section, which is they just cut off an arm and they give that to you, and that's fine because you can detach yourself from that.
Right.
No, it is fine. It is fine. But then when you've got like a whole body, and I was doing a neck dissection, you're sort of like cutting that open. And then every now and then you sort of like look down and look up and you're like, oh my god, it's a dead person.
Yeah, does that not ever freak you out? Like,
yeah, it did freak me out. I've never been dizzy before, but it made me be a bit like,
Have you ever had a problem with dealing with death, like, as part of your job?
I mean, as before I came to uni, I still do. I work as a healthcare assistant, which is basically on the wards. You basically clean up poo and wee all day.
You do this outside of your
yeah.
Your
I do it
studies.
to get money and stuff. So that's like my job, so I can sort of like fund myself.
No way.
And
how many hours a week do you do that?
So I don't. I've just got a job up here to do it when I'm at uni, but when I'm at home, because I'm on a 0-hour contract, so I just book shifts. So before I came to uni, I was doing like 60 hours a week, and then
60.
Yeah, and then when I've come to uni, I do now and then, because it's difficult to go home and work, and then but also like my parents get upset when I go home and I don't spend time with them, so you have to balance those two things. But before I came to uni, what you were saying about dead people, part of my job as a healthcare assistant is when someone dies. And this is actually one of my first days. You have to, so when someone dies, you have to wash them, sort of like dress them, make them look presentable for family to come in, and you have to like stuff like their nose and like the back of their mouth and like basically any opening in their body, you have to stuff with gauze because otherwise they leak. So I was quite comfortable with dead people because I'd done that a few times. And that's always been fine. It's a bit weird, but it's also the sense that you're actually doing something nice. It's like you're actually making them look nice, and you can spray things, so like when the family come in, it's not like really horrible. The only traumatic thing I've had when I did that was someone that was very like edematous, and like they had like a lot of water under their skin from heart failure, and we were sort of like rolling her to wash her, and this person's skin was just coming away in my hand. So I was rolling her, and the skin was coming away, and all this fluid was coming out, and it was coming in my hands, it was going up my forearm. I was like, oh, these gloves aren't long enough. Oh. But then you have to like bandage her up and like sort of start again. But I would say from that I was pretty resilient.
God, yeah, no, that's incredible. So that's the thing I was talking about earlier, where you've got on a daily basis you're challenged beyond what normal people are challenged.
Yeah, but it just becomes, you don't realise that people say like, what have you done in work today? Like I used to tell loads of stories about like when I was a HCA, but now I can't remember any of them because you're so desensitised to it. I'm like, oh, it's just normal, it's fine.
But do you ever like sit and look back at the things that you've done over the last year and go, right, I did all of this stuff, but at the same time, which is extraordinary because a fraction of the population is ever able to do that. At the same time, you are able to attend your studies and do that, which is in of itself harder than the average studying the person does, and then still go out more than the average person does and balance a relationship that most people struggle to balance. You not look back and go at some point and go, well, how on earth does that all work?
I mean, no. I mean, I'm happy. I'm so happy. I'm like, wow, I've got this amazing degree that I love. I've got this boyfriend who I really, really love, who supports me. I've got all these friends who will go out with me. I've managed to get this job, and I've managed to get this job in Newcastle because I've got my experience in Bristol, and I've got all my friends in Bristol. I honestly think I'm so lucky.
No, that's beautiful. I love that. That's
so
great.
Lucky. But yeah, no, nothing really sticks out to me because I feel like people do so much more, like and you're surrounded by people who do the same things. Like, I'm sure you're really busy, and Jack, like, you probably do so much. I mean, you're busy exploiting people, so what
that's
can we
exactly
say?
Right. But I bet you I bet you most people listening to this will go, shit, like,
no, they won't.
not in a bad way, but like you're living life to a level that's a little bit above what most people do, not to put other people down, but to put you up. I suppose that's it's very, very.
It's all about perspective, anyway.
Yeah, well, you the more you do, the more you can do, I suppose.
Yeah, no, that is very true.
And the people you surround yourself with. So we were talking early on about your 7 flatmates. They all study medicine.
Yeah, so I live with all medics this year. So I tried to. I think generally as a medic you try to avoid it for as long as you can because it's inevitable.
It is, yeah.
It's inevitable.
There's only so many people that stay at uni for 7 years.
You know, like, oh, I have got a life outside of medicine, but then slowly that gets chipped away.
Jack, could I ask you to grab my glass of wine? Sorry, carry on.
But yeah, I love it. And then we're staying in the same house as we were last year, which is nice. We've had 2 new people move in. So we've had one boy move in, David, who I get on with really well. He's one of my really good friends, but he gets really annoyed at me because I eat his butter, which almost broke us apart, but I think we pulled it back now.
So it's the big things that affect your life.
Yeah. I mean, don't worry about the dead people I'm dissecting or anything. The Lurpak is the thing that's going to bring me down.
If it's Lurpak, I completely understand. Lurpak's just it's butter.
You're one of those. But yeah, no, I really like it.
You must have had some shenanigans. Any crazy stories from?
I mean, I've always lived with girls. Always been really comfortable. I've always walked around. We all walk around very free. So we're all low-key nudists.
Wow, very liberal then.
Which I don't think David minds. I mean, he is gay, so I don't even think he notices. I really don't think he cares. But there have been a couple incidents where people who aren't my boyfriend have seen me naked. So
welcome.
So not actually in this house, in the house before. There was 3 incidents. The first incident was his girlfriend was asleep, you know, Claire. And then he was sat up in bed and I was walking round into my room and he was looking out his door and he saw me and he caught me. So I just like ducked inside. That was fine, you know.
Did you literally just walk the corridors naked?
Yeah. You know, just walking to the toilet, walking back. Oh, sorry,
Did you
Harry.
sleep naked?
I used to. I don't anymore now. I used to though.
What's the reason for the change?
Don't know really. Just like a bit old and saggy. I don't know.
24. God, imagine 35-year-old.
No, I don't know what it is. Probably because of the incidents that have happened. The second incident was I was like walking around my room and I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, oh yeah, Imz, you look good. So I took a picture and I looked at it and I was like, oh, that hasn't come out how I've wanted to.
Naked picture?
Yeah, I was going to take extended photos of Cam, as you do, 21st century and all that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that looks shit. I was like, I won't send that. I'll just, do another one in 6 months or something. But anyway, forgot about it. That night, my friend and her, my flatmate and her boyfriend were going out for their anniversary. They were like, can you take some pictures of us? And I was like, yeah. So I took some photos and they were looking at them, scrolling through, looking at the photos.
Never scroll.
And Joe just scrolls. So there's this photo of me. I think the thing that makes it so bad is the fact that it was such an awful photo. And he was like, oh my god. And then the third time, this is when I start sleeping with clothes on. I was like, walk around my room naked. And my friend's dog in the house had just died, so she was really, really sad. And anyway, I heard her coming down the stairs. So she was walking down the stairs, and I was at the bottom, and I was like, I'm naked. So I was like, I know what I'll do. I'll push my belly out, and I'll go like this. Like that. So I'm doing this horrible pose. Anyway, my other flatmate's boyfriend, Leo, emerges down the stairs. And he's like, oh, and he like falls back up the stairs. And then I'm like, oh my god, so embarrassing. And in the morning he was like, I didn't see anything. So obviously you don't say I didn't see anything.
Yeah, if you didn't see anything.
So yeah, after that point I started wearing pyjama shorts.
Just the shorts.
You can't change overnight.
No, it's a gradual process. Excellent, lovely.
So yeah, no, I love living with the girls.
Well, when you're 35, I'm sure you'll look back at that with fondness.
I think I'll be a nudist when I'm older. It's the only way.
Do you reckon that's the most embarrassing story you've got to tell? Someone mentioned something to me about a butt plug.
Oh really? No, I think that's more embarrassing for Cam. So I'm gonna tell it anyway.
So there's loads of people listening. I've asked Cam loads of questions about that I should be asking Imz on the podcast, and so that's where I've been getting little prompts from. So one of them was the butt plug story.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen. So, Cam, as many males do, like a small digit up the bottom from time to time. I mean, that's the prelude to the story.
Yeah.
So it's one of my favourite stories. I'm gonna get myself set.
Go on.
Just to stop you there. So I had this discussion with Cam when he was prepping to strip.
Oh.
Yeah.
Quite
So I
okay.
didn't know that this was a thing with Cam.
Yeah.
And he was educating me on how he facilitates this process.
Come, wank.
Yeah, but no, so I was like, how does a Pokeball wank go? And he was like, oh, like this, and he showed me. Apparently he walks into the bathroom.
Yeah.
Goes to the corner, and then like crouches down, and then does the reach around.
What?
This is a different story.
I'm gobsmacked. I don't know what I've not heard this one.
Could you do a little demo?
My parents might watch this one.
So what he does this?
People's
he does
podcast.
this prior. He does it.
This
He
podcast
does-
got
he
to
does-
share. It used to be highbrow, and it's now.
One session with me. It's gone way downstream.
I'm not doing it. No.
Oh no! Come on, just
So he
you don't have to
said-
actually do it.
He said he walks into the bathroom, sits down, faces the corner. I don't know why that's important, and then reaches around.
So why? What? So what he does this to warm himself up for the event?
He just says it's a more pleasurable experience.
That's what
No,
he-
no,
Oh, no,
no,
he
it's
says that
just
right-
by himself. It's just by himself.
No, I'm not involved in this.
It's
I'm not like on looking or like giving him marks or anything.
literally a pokebum wank. I think that's
struggling to
the
get on
phrase,
board
yeah.
with this.
Right, it's all news to me. All news.
So yeah, that's his thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, we'll get you a butt plug because.
Oh, you bought him a butt plug?
Yeah. So we bought a butt plug.
In the bargain bin.
I can't remember who's. I think we went to Ann Summers and we were like, oh, that that's a ting. You like that ting? We'll put the tings together.
Wasn't that said ting in the bargain bucket? I remember also, which is a.
It might have been in the bargain
It was.
bucket.
I remember that specific.
I assume that's not because it was a return item.
So
Hopefully
I
not.
ask.
Eh?
I don't know. So you met Cam. Everything was normal.
Yeah, every
like,
sausage roll. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, every sausage roll. And then one day you guys were getting down and dirty, and he was like, "Do something to the other side of me." Yeah. Or how did it come about? How did it?
I honestly can't remember.
What was your emotional reaction to that?
I honestly can't remember. I don't mind.
You were just down there.
I don't mind doing it. Like,
you were a
he
doctor,
likes it. Yeah.
You've like rolled people over. We've had water under the
I mean,
skin.
I put a finger in many a body, you know.
As a doctor, or
you walk on the wards, you basically have already got a glove on your hand. You're like, who wants it?
you're gonna get a lot of guys off. This is gonna be porn, basically.
That's probably why he targeted me. He was like, he's a medical student. You'll be good at this.
Genius, Cam.
I honestly can't remember. I mean, yeah, it's just a thing that you like, so.
Great. Well, each to their own.
But
so
yeah,
anyway.
so we brought this tool to facilitate the specific need, aka a butt plug.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the small thing with like a ring on the end, and I didn't really realise I had to put my finger through this ring on the end. I didn't know, like. So you had to put your finger through the thing. Through like the ring, so it's like a ring, and then like a. I mean, it's not that long. Thank God. But yeah, so anyway, we kept putting it in, and then I would like, I thought you could just put it in and leave it, and then take your hand away, and then it would just stay, and then that would be him done. But we sort of like put it in, it kept falling out, it just kept falling out. And then he was like, it's falling out again. And I was like, can't see it anywhere.
I love my butt plug's falling out again.
Oh, babe, my butt plug's falling out again. Oh, it always comes out Australian when I try to do his Brummie accent. But yeah, so we were like searching through the bed. I was like lifting up the covers. I was like, can't find anyone. He was like, where has it gone? I just looked at him and I was like, there's one place it could have gone. And at that point, it's like all the colour drained from his face. It's like, oh my God.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. So, there was a bit of closer examination. There might have been a phone torch gotten out to have a look closer. But I've also fabricated this story so much to the point I don't even know if that's true anymore.
It's fine, we'll just act
and
like
I was
it is.
like, we can't go to A&E because there'll be someone that we both know there, because he knows people on my course, I know people on my course. I was like, we can't. I was like, we just can't go there. But anyway, he like went and he got out himself. I don't know. You have to ask him about that when he comes on. That can be your piece of resistance.
That's how we'll start.
But yeah, and then it was all happy from there on.
On that note, I think we're gonna have to.
Yeah, I
Are we
mean,
going to end on the butt plug note?
We have to end this segment because the camera's going to swap the batteries.
I'm speechless anyway, so that's great. So who is your favourite social scientist?
Who's my favourite social scientist? I don't really have a favourite social scientist because I'm very undecided about where I lie.
Okay. Sorry, carry on.
So my upbringing and my heart says, and my profession says that I am left-wing and I lie with Ribby.
Yeah. Well, our guests will not know where Ribby lies. So you're Marxist left-wing.
Yeah, the other very cynical...
Jeremy Corbyn.
Yeah. The other very cynical side. And we just need to have something that works side. Lies. Opposite of that, obviously. So I haven't figured out, and obviously I don't think that you can have one without the other, because one ultimately relies on exploiting the other, so I haven't fully developed in that point.
Well, the beauty is you don't need to be either or. You don't need to be either left or right. You can be both. And that's kind of the beauty of our political system, is that you have this argument that constantly happens where you have these left views and these right views, and what actually ends up happening in the society is in the middle.
Yeah.
'Cause both sides of the aisle affect the practical implications of society. So
I think we're definitely more right at the moment.
Ooh. It depends. So if you were to go back 100 years and you would look at our policies now, and you would go, we're super left.
Yeah,
Because you would have no social security and what have you. But if you would look at now compared to the rest of the world, where we are now, or where we have been over the last 20, 30 years, is probably more relevant. We would say we're more right than left.
Yeah,
Because we have been, the UK, British government has been fairly left for from the late 80s all the way through to the mid noughties or so.
Yeah. So
you don't know where you stand?
No, I don't, and I feel that's something that I'm definitely looking to develop.
So with me,
because I think it's an important part of your identity, knowing where you lie on that sort of stuff.
It's quite a popular topic now with people. People are very politically charged, especially our generation, whereas 5-10 years ago that was not the case. So it's great. It's a good thing. It
is good, but it's also I hate to use the word fake news because it's so popular, but it's very true. People use it, and people do like champagne politics a lot as well, and people throw things around, and obviously we're all guilty of that, and you don't know if you're guilty of that. I've definitely been guilty of that in the past while realising that I am, so it is difficult to actually understand the intricacies of how our government works and how our government interacts with other governments. It's like a whole nother level entirely. So to actually do that, you can't do that by reading one article on the internet or spending a day or like a hangover day reading articles on the internet. You actually need to study it and study the law and study the history and study what's going on now and study people's opinions and viewpoints and what's going to happen in the future. And that's not an easy thing, but no. in the world of where you want information quick and you want it easy and you want what you want now, it's difficult to accept that. And especially when people are so opinionated, those two things combined means that you are also influenced to be opinionated without properly doing all your reading, and we're all guilty of it.
Very, very well said. You hit the nail on the head. In a world with Netflix where there's loads of TV shows which will just give you instant satisfaction, why will you spend what is required to be an incredible amount of time to understand a very complicated situation, which kind of begs the question whether democracy is the kind of the best system going forward. Why
do you say that?
Well, because the average person cannot educate themselves to the fullest degree to make the right decision.
And would you argue that was proved by Brexit?
Oh, that's a big one, yeah. Or any. So I work in a situation where I see things happen and then I see them reported in the news a lot, and then I talk to people about it, and those three things are always miles apart.
Can you give an example?
I can. Okay, so Domino's Pizza.
Great example.
So I work quite closely with Domino's Pizza. I understand. This is going to be a terrible example because...
Just go for it. Own it.
So what do you think when you think of Domino's Pizza?
I think thick crust. I think student deals. I think overpriced unless you've got a discount code.
Exactly. So most people say expensive.
Yeah.
For pizza, it's £18 for an average slice of pizza.
Yeah.
And that's what most of the press reports. But the average pizza sold through Domino's is £9.50. That's what it has been for the last 3 or 4 years. But that's just because discounts are part of their business. But the media will not report that. They'll grab a hold of £18 for a pizza. Yeah. A large pizza is extortionate. And how are you supposed to be able to afford that in all the areas of Britain? It's a terrible example, but that's kind of one of the ways where you speak to the CEOs and they go, right, well, we're never intending to sell pizzas at £18. We're only intending to sell them £9.50. That's where the majority of our kind of marketing efforts go. But anyway, with Brexit, it's much more relevant, where you've got a very, very complicated story that nobody actually knows what the situation is, and you've got people voting on it where they're not qualified to do so.
Yeah, it's such a complicated process leaving, 'cause there's so many different rules and regulations that need to be changed. Every single aspect of importing and exporting, everything needs to be re-standardized. Everything needs to be defined, how you're going to say it is what it is, things like that. So something like an organic product, if it's made in Germany and it's shipped to England, it's obviously you have to standardize it's organic from the very starting point to the end point. Then you need to standardize the fact that our two regulation systems are the same, and that they come from the same ethics sort of thing, and that's actually come from that place, it's come to us, and that all these different stages in the process match up, and that's just one industry. And then you think about all the other more complex things other than just like organic rice cakes that it's going to affect, and obviously it's going to make more jobs because people have to make these policies, and that is one of the benefits of it. It has made so much more jobs, but it's just so fucking complicated, and nobody knows how it's going to end up.
And people are bored of it now as well, because they're like, this Brexit thing's
it's boring politics,
rambling on for years, and why do I have to listen to it? But the one thing I will say is that I don't think you need to be either left or right. So my views are, like, I love economics, a big fan of capitalism in most ways. I don't think what we've seen in the last 20 years is actually capitalism. I think what we've seen is a version of it that is imperfect.
How so?
Well, you've got people manipulating rules. So as soon as you have a system where people have the ability to influence the rules, i.e. lobbying, they have an ability to influence the game in an unfair way. As soon as you have people who are, because they are wealthy, can rig the rules in their favor, therefore capitalism stops becoming the freely competitive market that it should be, and it ruins the game. As soon as people at the bottom of the ladder believe that they cannot start climbing the ladder and achieve what anyone has achieved, capitalism breaks down. So you need people to believe that they are from, if they are from the most disadvantaged background, they can still go to Oxford, get the best degree, and become prime minister. You need to have that belief.
Yeah, but what about the institutional exploitation which stops them from being that?
That's anti-capitalism, though. That in itself is not
obviously
capitalism.
Capitalism encourages like free trade, free market, deregulation, all that stuff. But what about? So you say that everyone has equal opportunity to sell whatever they have and progress up the ladder, charge whatever they want. All that stuff is about capitalism and about being like, you have equal opportunity. It's how you use it. But what about, for example, for a massive thing for like health, is obviously if you have poor health, you can't trade as well because you're off work, all this stuff. Massive thing for health is whether you can, an example would be exercise. And you could say that someone who is better off and has a gym on the top floor of their penthouse or whatever, as an extreme example, can be of better health than someone who lives in a deprived area, who lives with everyone else who smokes, who maybe a single mum, all this other stuff. They don't have equal opportunity.
Absolutely valid.
Equal access to that free market. So obviously the argument of saying a free market is equal opportunity for all just because it's free doesn't make it equal, and it ignores the fact there's institutional discrimination. But I mean, yeah. No,
what you said, I agree with all of it. But the reason why I think a lot of people resonate with capitalism is because it's been around before we think society's kind of formed. It's a kind of an age-old thing that we evolved with. It's a natural way of doing things. But what happened when we were cavemen or what have you is we didn't have the ability to inherit wealth from your parents. So right now, if your parents do well, your parents get to offload that wealth to you, and you get a head start in life.
So should everyone start with a blank slate, you think?
100% inheritance tax is what I've always championed.
Okay.
So no one starts off with an advantage over everyone. You still have your parents' influence. You still have them saying to you, you need to do this and not this, and you still have the ability for them to buy you the ability to go to a better school or what have you, or maybe private schools are completely eradicated, but by and large, you start off at the same slate, and from that, you encourage beautiful competition
Yeah.
where people feel like they will always have a chance of competing against people born into any other background.
But I guess at that, the only thing you're putting in the sort of realms of competition is like the monetary value that you have behind your name.
That's huge, though.
But
isn't
surely
it?
there's other things as well that contribute to that. It's multifactorial.
You'll never be able to eradicate advantages because people are born different.
Yeah.
And that includes their
But
parents.
born different because of what?
Genes, for one instance.
And
environment, for another.
yeah. So
Everything.
you'll never be able to
You
eradicate social
cannot,
circumstances.
But you can take steps to make it more fair than what it is now.
Yeah. But then if you do that, it eradicates the sole growth of capitalism.
But if you do it in a way that
Maybe I am
enables
left-wing.
competition, if you do it in a way that enables competition rather than okay, so the Marxists will say everyone should all earn the same no matter what job you do. That's the other end of the extreme where you're like saying no matter what you do, it's equal outcomes for people, and that just disincentivizes people to contribute who have more to contribute.
So why do you think you've been successful?
Lucky, very lucky.
Lucky.
Yeah, very very lucky.
Not hardworking.
Oh, I worked hard. No doubt about it. But there's lots of people who worked as hard as me.
But what about someone that works really, really hard in a job that's minimum wage but hasn't actually got any progression? What would you say about that? Because obviously they're working really hard, so it's not like they're maximising. It's not like they're not maximising their situation because they're working as hard as they physically can.
So I mean, there will always be outliers, and I think I'm an outlier, so I got lucky. And at the same end of the extreme, there'll be people who are equally as talented as me that will be unlucky, and you will never be able to create a system that doesn't have that. It will always be part of it. Unfortunately, that's just the law of numbers. But the issue comes in when you have people who are entering at the bottom of the bottom runs of the ladder who do not believe that they can achieve.
So you think it's about psyche?
Absolutely. That's where America does so well. They have this thing called the American dream, and it instills in a belief in everyone that they can achieve the most, that they're willing to give the most to their society and their economy.
But where do you think that belief comes from?
Where do I think the belief...
So American born in America, their belief comes from America.
It's a marketing ploy by the government to say we need to get the most resources from you.
But what if you're born in a society where you're not told that you could be the best thing? What if you're born in Middlesbrough, where you're told you live in a city full of smog?
Beautiful question.
And you were born to be an unskilled worker. Is that equality?
I think it's a beautiful question. It's an exactly right question, and it's exactly the thing that we need to try and address. Like that is the number one thing. Like if you can instill a belief in someone who's from a really disadvantaged background that they can achieve absolutely anything, and they see that, and it is theoretically true for the majority, for the mean, not just the outliers, then you're onto a winning combination, and that is possible.
This is quite the
think-
fucking jump from the
I think you're in danger of saying I've done well because I've worked hard. So if you just change your attitude, you can achieve what I've achieved. When actually there's so many more factors than that influence on someone's success than just believing whether they can do it or not.
But they are,
which goes beyond their control. It's not about individualizing that behaviour. It's like so many other things that come to it.
I have. It's a possibility that I have rose-tinted glasses. They're absolutely
and so do I, because I'm very privileged as well.
But to be fair, I'm not from. I'm not making excuses or anything like that. I'm not from the privileged background, so I have.
Even though you're white from South Africa.
Ben.
There are some of us that aren't privileged, but I've got no real comment to that. So.
I don't know how this happened. Is this actually being recorded as well? Because it started off, we were still having a break.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know we were still
You didn't even do the intro back in. You were like, I don't know how I'm going to wrap this up.
This is
how we're going to end it.
So you said you wanted to ask me some questions before we ended.
Oh, right, okay. So you've been asking me questions.
Do you want to have the last little shot of Jameson's before we go?
Okay.
Cheers. It's been fun. I've
capitalism.
thoroughly enjoyed it. To capitalism.
Ooh.
Well, I've converted you to whiskey.
Ooh.
Okay. So I should ask you a few like simple ones, and then like maybe a few more.
Ease me into it, because I might be nervous.
So what's your favourite drink?
Yeah, red wine. Yeah, I do like red wine. Yes. Glass of Merlot. That doesn't scream middle class. I don't know what does.
But you're not privileged.
Yeah, you're not privileged at all.
Okay. Where's your favourite place that you've been?
There's a place in Southern Africa, about 6 or 7 hours south of Durban, by car. It's called the Wild Coast.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the Transkei. It is its native name. And it's a completely untouched part of South Africa. So when apartheid was formed, there was a segregation of South Africa that was cordoned off, and that was part of another country that was completely undeveloped. And my dad was born there, grew up there in the like proper bush. My dad spoke Zulu before he spoke English. And we used to go there on holiday because it's a wild coast. It's really wild. It's like 5 hours to the nearest hospital. We used to go there fishing and hunting when I was a kid, and it's the middle of nowhere. So yeah, that's
cute.
it was lovely.
Okay. What is the most challenging year of you? So you're 29.
Mm.
What is the most challenging year of your life?
When I finished uni for the second time, and I was studying the CFA, so as a chartered financial analyst degree. There's 3 years to it. So you graduate, you're doing 40 hours a week of work, and the qualification requires about another 25 hours of studying or so. And getting into that kind of routine was quite difficult. It's known as the most failed exam on Wall Street. It's pretty difficult, but it's about a 9% pass rate. It's pretty brutal. Doing that while going through a breakup for about 4 years was pretty hard for about a year. Yeah.
That leads on to my next question. What's your biggest heartbreak?
God, I've had two.
Would it be that one or? Okay, go on. Sorry.
I've had two. I've had two serious relationships. So one lasted 4 years, one lasted 2 years, and they were both equally as hard. One was I met her on the early in university, and it ended when she got a job somewhere else. I got a job up here. Went different ways, and then very similar to the second one, where she was at uni, but I was a graduate here, a little bit older, and she got a job in Hong Kong, so she left, and I'd at the same time been made partner at the firm that I work at, so I stayed.
So both more like wrong place, wrong time sort of thing.
Yeah, very much so. You'll find that in Newcastle because the circles that we run in, I suppose, are most people are here to study. Most people achieve something and then kind of go on and do things, different things.
And if you could describe yourself in 3 words,
Jesus,
what would it be? Funny, sexy, clever.
Fucking hell. This is my podcast.
Very fucking hot.
We've got about a minute left, so you're on the clock as well.
Sorry, how long have we got left, Jack? Just let me know.
Around a minute. I'll do a countdown if you want.
Alright, okay.
Oh, great. Yeah, no pressure. Fucking hell. Balanced, I think. Hopefully.
Okay.
Arrogant, maybe. I suppose I have to say that.
I've heard that.
Yeah, I've been told that. That's the only reason I'm saying it. I'm very, very analytical. Like I'm obsessive about analyzing numbers and situations and
people,
which is why we do this. Yeah, I love analyzing all things. So yeah,
that's probably why you're good at it.
Yeah, yeah. It's fun anyway to do.
Yeah, no, it's been really fun. I've loved it.
It's been awesome to have you on. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Thanks for coming, guys.
The weirdest one I've ever done by a long way.
Why?